Gosh, it's been a long time since I've sat and done one of these. Hello and welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Lucy, I am 25 years old and I am a makeup artist that specifically niches in quite fun, quirky, creative makeup. If you've clicked onto this video, you know what is going down today. Today I am going to be doing a recreation of one of Zara Larsson's makeup looks from her Midnight Sun tour. Her makeup artist Sophia, who has been with her on this tour, has been absolutely killing the game. It is so refreshing to just see some colour and some fun, colourful, vibrant and creative makeup to come back to the stages. As somebody who feels like I've been in this space for a very long time doing these kind of creative looks, it's really nice to see that getting a platform again. If you've been living under a rock, you'll have to go and check out Sophia and Zara's Instagram pages. There is just so many beautiful looks to choose from. I put up a poll on my Instagram story this morning to see which look you guys wanted me to recreate for a video. And to be honest, although this one is not in the lead, Sophia herself clicked this option on my poll. So I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I did not do the one that she wants to see. So this is the look that we are going to be going for today. It is just a beautiful work of art and I feel like it's one of the lesser recreated ones from all of the ones that they've posted so far. I think people have been a little bit intimidated by the eyeliner situation because it's quite a sharp black liner with like a silver strike going through it. But I think with being blonde, we definitely stand a good chance of making a really good recreation of this look. So let's get right into it. When I have filmed my makeup videos in the past, I used to film on my old Sony camera, but this one I'm actually filming on my iPhone today. My Sony camera has seen better days and I just feel like it's not very good anymore to shoot content. To be honest, my phone is like super crisp quality, so I'm hoping this is going to do the job until I get myself a new filming camera. Hair has just gone up. I literally cannot do makeup with my hair down. It is so overstimulating just having it around my face, so hair always goes up to begin with. Okay, I'm zooming you in nice and close so you can really see what I'm about to do. I've just gone and pulled out all of the products that I'm going to be using to recreate this look. As always, I've just started with my brows. However, Miss Zara Larsson and I have very, very different eyebrows. Hers are very thin, structured, and a little bit more like sharp on the edges. Mine are much thicker, much fuller, and more of a rounded shape. So there is just simply no way that I am going to be able to emulate brows anywhere near hers. However, I did notice that she's got quite a sharp, white structured element just underneath her arch of her brow. So I've just gone ahead and carved it out, and this is going to create that little base that I can then blend into with the eyeshadow. To be honest, this is as best as we're going to get with regards to the brows. Although I must say, she has got really beautiful brows and they frame her face perfectly. So I'm actually going to take a concealer to prime my lids today. I'm just going to take a very, very small amount of the Too Faced Born This Way Multi Sculpting Concealer, mostly on the outside of my brow here. And then what I'm going to do on the inside is use the white P. Louise Cosmetics paint. The reason that I'm going to use this one is just because on that inner corner, she's got quite a white creamy shade. So I feel like it just makes sense to use something a little bit lighter, and then we're already halfway there. And tapping this all over the lid and bringing it out towards my temple to prime that area. Laying down a concealer or an eyeshadow primer is just going to give us that really full coverage, flawless canvas base to start with. And it's going to make sure that our eyeshadows blend a lot more seamlessly on top of it. The lighter color base you use, the more your colors are going to pop. For my eyeshadow, I've actually pulled out a couple of different Morphe palettes. These are the absolutely stunning new refurbished Morphe eyeshadow palettes. If you've been in this space for a long time, you will know Morphe was the absolute OG when it came to eyeshadow palettes. The 350 back in the day was literally everyone's favorite. This is just such a beautiful packaging. I mean, look at the lightning strikes on that. This one is the Electric Current palette, and I feel like it's just got the perfect warm peachy pink tones in here that we're going to need for this look. If you can see in Sophia's look, she's got like a beautiful pinky peach blend on the outer corner of the brow bone, and I feel like a combination of this pink and this peach shade here are going to make the perfect shade to emulate that. I've also pulled out this one, which is the Moonstone palette, because it has got our white creamy shade up in the corner here and a stark silver one here as well, which we can tap on in that inner corner of the lid. I actually think because now we've got our base set down, I'm going to start with the creamy white shade and just tap that into the inner corner and just get that laid down to begin with. Just picking that up on a quite dense, flat, yet still fluffy brush. These tend to be the best kind of brushes to tap on an eyeshadow with. And this is going in the socket of the brow bone. Can you see where my brow connects to my nose in this curvature just here? We're just going to tap it in there, starting from the inner corner and just setting that area of the eyeshadow base. On just a slightly smaller brush, I'm picking up that same white shade and I'm just going to set underneath the brow bone. Coming back into this Electric Current palette. I think what I'm going to do first is use the pinky shade and then blend it out with the peach to create that really gorgeous sunset kind of look. Holy shit. shoot, I was not expecting that much pigment from the amount that I picked up on my brush. Taking off any excess product from my brush and just gonna start to sort of tap this and move it around and blend it out slightly. Instead of changing my brush, I'm actually gonna take that same brush that I just used for the pink. I've just wiped off the excess on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to pick up the shade Peach Pop, which is that gorgeous orangey toned peach, and just with a light hand start to blend that in the upper section of where I've applied the pink. And I'm also bringing this ever so slightly in towards the inner corner of the eye as I go. In the look, it looks like she's got this gorgeous peachy toned golden shimmer just right down in the center of her lid, and this palette actually has the perfect tone. This one right here looks like it's going to complement this peachy shade absolutely perfectly, so I'm going to pick that up on my finger and just swipe that onto the eye right down the center for that gorgeous silvery pearlescent inner corner that they've got going on. I'm coming back into the Moonstone palette from Morphe, and I'm going to take this gorgeous silver shade right here. I'm trying to keep this quite refined into that area because they've got quite a structured shape going on that inner corner. I feel like that's kind of done the job, but I just feel like we need a little bit more sparkle. I'm just taking the Jordana Tisha Twinkle Tower eye toppers. This is the top shade in here, but my one is actually smashed, so I've got to be a little bit delicate picking this up. This is like the perfect silvery white tone, and I just know that that is going to be the perfect top up for this look. Just coming back in to pick up that golden shade one more time because I feel like we slightly lost it within that silver, and just reaffirming that right down the center of the eye. The next stage is going to be the liner along that top lash line. So I'm going to go ahead with my KVD Beauty tattoo liner, which I know and trust to be a very fine tip, so I know we can get a really, really thin line with this. Taking it all the way across my line, right down into the inner corner, and just creating a very, very thin inner foxy eye wing. What started as a thin wing ended up being quite a thick wing, but that happens when it comes to eyeliner sometimes. For my mascara, I'm going to be taking my absolute favorite ride or die mascara. This is the Benefit Bad Girl Bang. I feel like I don't talk about this enough on my channels, but I absolutely love this mascara, and the waterproof version is incredible as well. So I'm going to do an even layer, maybe even a couple of even layers all over my lashes, but predominantly filling out the inner corner because the outer corner is going to have a fake lash on it. Because this is obviously stage makeup and she's going to be from afar from all of the people watching, they've gone for something quite lengthy on the outer corners that's really going to be visible from a little bit further back. I'm actually going to just pick these lashes, which I got, I think, from Amazon or Shein, and they're just a little half lash, but they just go out on that outer corner, and I feel like they're really going to give us that lifted and elevated effect on the outer corner there. So I'm just going to set those down and leave them to dry for a couple of minutes, and in the meantime we're going to get started on our base. Because I'm not actually going anywhere today and I'm purely filming this just for you guys, I'm going to go straight in with my foundation. I have chosen the Fenty Beauty Soft Lit Naturally Longwear Foundation because it looks like she's got something really flawless, high coverage, but with a little bit of luminosity through the skin. My always favorite technique when it comes to applying foundation is I like to paint it on first and then blend it out afterwards with a brush, and then go over with a sponge just to absorb any excess product. I just feel like painting it on this way gives us a little bit more coverage and it makes the product go further as well. Just stippling out that foundation using the Smashbox blurring foundation brush, and then just going over using a sponge to absorb any excess product. The blusher in this look is chef's kiss. If there's one thing that Sophia and Zara do really well, other than basically everything else, is their blusher. Again, this is stage makeup. It's being shown on the big screens, it's being shown from afar, and it needs to pop on the screens. I'm going to create a kind of ombre effect of a peach to pink tone. These are both from Glow Hub Beauty. They are just these gorgeous matte blusher sticks because it doesn't really look like Zara's got a massive glow going onto the skin. It looks quite matte and they've added a highlighter on top. So I'm going to create quite an ombre effect, starting with the pink on the peak point of my cheek. And I'm just going to build this up in a little circle here. And then taking our peachy shade, I'm just going to do a little dollop to the left and up onto the temple here. She's also got a little bit of pink just going right across the center of her nose. So I'm just going to pop that on the bridge there, and let's see what we get when we blend this out. That is just such a beautiful blush formula. Can you see the pigment on that? It's just the perfect starting base, and then we can build up with the powder blush later on. For my concealer, it's very important we've got a very, very flawless under eye, such as Miss Zara Larsson. As I started with earlier, I'm going to take the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This is a very high coverage, flawless formula, so I know this will do the job really well. A little bit goes a long way with this product, so we really don't need to do too much. I'm also just going to take this to add some coverage to my key areas, such as on my chin, on the forehead, and I'm also going to use this to just carve underneath my contour line down here. And now we blend. Before we go ahead and set anything, I'm actually also going to go back to this cosmetic paint by P. Louise, and I'm just going to take a tiny little detail brush and apply this to carve out this inner corner wing. In the look, the silver actually goes above and below the wing on the inner corner. So I'm just going to use this to carve it out, and this is obviously going to act as a good base for when we come to put the silver on. I actually can't tell you what the bright inner corner does for my ego. It literally makes me feel gorgeous. I don't know what it is, but a bright inner corner, it's just everything, especially I feel for blue eyes. I think it just really helps to make the blue eyes pop. Coming in to set this base, I'm going to use the Jordana T-shirt setting powder in the shade Pearl Sugar. Picking that up on a powder puff, then just starting by setting lightly underneath the eyes. We are coming back to the under eyes to finish up on that gorgeous silver winged liner. So I don't want to set it too much underneath there. But of course, we don't want anything to go creasing. So we're just setting the concealer into place. Coming back to add a little bit of bronze to the face, I'm actually going to start with this Sleek Makeup bronzer in the shade Literally, because I feel like it's quite a nice, cool, neutral toned bronzer, and I really feel like we don't need anything too warm on the face at the minute. I'm just going to pick this up and start adding a little bit of a bronze around the perimeters of my face where I would typically apply my bronzer. I'm also going to pick this up on a tiny little angled fluffy brush, and this is going to be used for my nose contour. I'm going to start in this little crease where we've got the white eyeshadow laid down on the eyes, and this is going to be the start of where my nose contour is going to begin. By doing this, we're also going to intensify that white eyeshadow and just really make everything pop. For the powder blush, I'm going to be taking this brand new Huda Beauty blush filter palette, which is in the shade Toasty Peach. This shade right here looks like a pretty much exact replica of what Sophia has put on Zara's cheeks in this photo. I'm just going to pick up that shade using a nice flat, fluffy blusher brush and start by applying it to the apples of the cheeks, and then slowly we're going to blend this down onto the front of the cheek and also up the temples as well. Just to add a slightly more pinky hue to this blush over the top, I'm going to go in with the Colourpop blusher in the shade Flamingo. And I feel like she's focused this just underneath where the wing of the eyeliner is. So right around here to give a pinky pop. I think now is probably a good time to come back into the eyes, and then we can finish up with the highlighter and highlighting all the key details at the very end. For that gorgeous silver line underneath the lower lash line, I'm going to be taking this glittery eyeliner by P. Louise, and hopefully this is going to be the perfect silvery white tone to create that eyeliner. So it comes right from the inner corner underneath the waterline and then wings out towards the edge underneath where we've put that winged liner. Mine is not showing up quite as stark disco silver as what Sophia's got on Zara's eyes. However, it's going to have to do because I'm not sure I've got the right product to create it exactly. The other problem that we're going to have with this black underliner situation is that I've got creases in my under eye, and eyeliner is definitely going to set into my creases. I'm obviously going to do my absolute best, but it might not look quite as neat as what Zara has got. Her eyes just look like the absolute perfect dream shape to work on. She doesn't look like she's got any awkward creases or wrinkles or lumps or bumps anywhere. I'm coming back in with my KVD tattoo liner, and I'm going to attempt to do that black double liner underneath the lower lash line. I'm probably not going to be able to talk throughout this process, so enjoy watching me struggle. What I want to know is how long it takes Sophia to create these looks, because honestly, I have been here for like nearly 3 hours creating this look, and that's just on me. And I know that it's so much harder to do a look like this on somebody else, especially somebody who's getting ready for a show when there's probably a lot of time constraints and she's probably on the phone and people are talking to her. It must be impossible to get her to sit still enough to do an intricate look like this. So honestly, hats off to Sophia. Okay, I didn't film it because honestly it was an impulsive decision, but I just decided to add these little lower lash individuals to that bottom black liner. The reason being because in the photo, her eyeliner is much closer to her lower lash line, but because of the shape of my eyes, I physically wouldn't have been able to get it much closer to my lash line without it bleeding into all my creases. So I've had to go a little bit lower. And if I then did my bottom mascara, it's not going to show up over the bottom of the black line, if that kind of makes sense. So that's why I decided to go down the faux lash option. And although it's giving a little bit more drag energy than the original look, I feel like it's still kind of serving its purpose. For the final step of this eye look, we're coming back in with this pink shadow that we began with. I'm just going to pick this up on a little angled liner brush, and we're just going to smudge this out slightly from underneath where that black eyeliner is. And finally, I'm going to take that same blusher that I used earlier on my cheeks and taking the same eyeshadow brush that I began the look with, picking up that blush and just going to blend the edge of this eyeshadow look so that it goes seamlessly into the blusher, because that definitely looks like something that Sophia has done on Zara's makeup. Okay, highlighter time. It definitely looks like they've got something really quite white and pearlescent on the cheeks and down the bridge of the nose. So I'm going to take this one by NYX. This is the Buttermelt highlighter in the shade Bright and Butter, which is a really beautiful champagne light color. I'm going to start by taking a small little fluffy brush and picking that up. This is going to go down the bridge of the nose. This feels like a really important step in the makeup that Zara's wearing because her nose is just like snatched to perfection, and the highlighter down the tip really adds to the overall look. I'm just going to soften this out by using my finger to tap it over, and of course not forgetting the tip of the nose. I'm also then going to pick this up on a little highlighter brush, tap off any excess, and just start to build this up on the very top of the cheek. It's almost sitting just below the eyes, so we're going to go right in there. Okay, time for lips to finish up this look. It looks like we've got a slightly orangey toned, warm brown nude liner on the lip. And then it looks like she's just gone over with a clear iridescent sort of pinky toned gloss. It doesn't look like we've really got lipstick on. It looks like we've just got liner and gloss. So that is the route that I think I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna take the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip liner pencil in the shade Deep Taupe. This is actually quite a cool toned pencil in comparison to the one that Sophia's used, but I think because I've gone very, very warm on the cheeks, I can get away with dulling it down a little bit on the lips. I actually am just going to slightly lighten that bottom center of my lip because it looks like Zara's got a little bit of concealer or something, just making it look a little bit pinkier. So I'm going to use this Huda Beauty color corrector in the shade Cherry Light and just literally dab the tiniest little bit on of that. To finish up with my gloss, I have a feeling I've got one of the most perfect duplicates for this look. This is the e.l.f. Glow Reviver Lip Oil in the shade Candy Coated. It's got like iridescent shimmer of like multicolored reflex through it. And I really feel like this is going to be the perfect topper to finish off this look. Guys, I've actually changed my mind about the lip liner. It's definitely too cool toned. Now I keep looking at the photo, I definitely feel like we need something a little bit warmer. So I'm actually going to take off my lip, replace it with a slightly warmer lip liner shade, repeat all the same steps, and then see where we come to. I don't know how many of you are going to actually be able to tell, but that is like miles better already. I just needed something a little bit warmer. I ended up going for the P. Louise lip liner in the shade Feeling Fine. And to lock in all this hard work, I'm going to go in with a generous spritz of my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This has literally come with me through so many events and so many times where I've needed my makeup to stay on for a long time, and she is trustworthy, guys. I'm actually going to try for the first time this absolutely stunning Body Lava by Fenty Beauty. This one is in the shade How Many Carrots, and it is just gloss in a bottle. I've never really been one for like a body glow. I love the look of it on other people, but I can't help but always feel like it must be such a nuisance to just have like that stickiness on your chest, especially if you're ever wearing your hair down. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but oh my god, it's definitely giving Zara Larsson energy. She is stunning. Okay, I'm gonna let my hair down, go and give it a little bit of a style, and then come back to show you the finished look. Oh my flipping god. I feel like a goddess, a pop star, a diva. I feel insane right now. I'm actually telling you, there is something about bold makeup that makes you feel so empowered and sexy and cool. Every time I do a creative makeup look, I sit here and think, truly, I've never looked better. And honestly, that is how I'm kind of low-key feeling right now. I also feel like Zara Larsson is a big hoop girly, so I'm just gonna pop in these gold hoops. I can't actually see in the photo what earrings she's wearing with this look, but I'm gonna presume it was probably something of the hoop sort. And here is our finished Zara Larsson makeup recreation. I have not filmed a full-length makeup tutorial in genuinely years, and this feels really refreshing to actually talk to a camera again. It's really hard to film a video like this and cut it down into a couple of minutes for like TikTok and Instagram and the other platforms. So this is really refreshing, being able to actually talk and like knowing that I'm not gonna have to cut so much of it out. If you have enjoyed watching this video, please give me a thumbs up and a comment down below to let me know that you've been here. If this is something you want to see more of in the future, I will absolutely be coming back and doing more makeup tutorials. You just let me know and I'll be there. Let's give it up for a couple of close-ups of the look so you guys can really see it in all its glory. Do you know what it is? I think it's the blush. I think it's the blush. The blush is giving life. It looks really good under my lights though, I must say. When I was just in the house and I was sorting out my hair, my makeup looked insane because in the low lighting, the blush just makes my whole face look pink. But now that I'm back out here in my lighting, I feel like it doesn't look as strong. But I definitely do think there is something in the blush that just makes me feel incredible. Do look out for this look on my social medias, but also please be sure to follow Sophia, who is the original artist of this look. She is incredibly talented, and I think she is really doing game-changing things for the makeup community. So big props to Sophia. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video if you've made it to the end, and I really hope I get to film more content like this again soon. See you hopefully in the next one.